The content will be where I usually cover, so to be short, I want to give a shout out to ATA content creator originally, but I'm gonna do remake of it. So uh, thank y'all for being here on this Thursday night, and I hope you guys enjoyed your game, but whatever you had going, I know it's a late night. Get up for work in the mornings, but enough talking, and then let's do it.
23rd, 2020, City of Chicago police officers Jonathan Ridgner and Nicholas Abramson were on patrol when they observed Leroy Kennedy, who was walking on a city sidewalk at the time, engage in what they believed to be quote-unquote suspicious behavior and decided to detain him. Officer Ridgner ran up behind Mr. Kennedy, grabbed him by the neck, slammed him into a brick wall, took him to the ground, and smashed his head onto the sidewalk more than once. A group of witnesses began to gather, and the interaction that followed was captured on officer body camera.
Hey, no, chill out. You know we'll roll your about there, roll your we'll roll your take this we just you take this come on we'll roll your no you just bust okay you just bust it take this you playing bro you playing bro you playing bro you playing you let him go through y'all helping you take it out helping you just face up like this man you just get straight up. Let you on that bitch. She was trying to fight me. Man, you was trying to fight the trying to fight you. You don't hold my hand. Bro, you touching me for no reason, bro. I ain't got shit on you, bro. I ain't take off running. I walked off. I ain't run. I walked off. On my man, I'm putting him on. Stop pushing him, bro.
I'm gonna get some medical attention, bro. Bro, back up. Back up. I'll be that. Back up.
Man, that's
I got ass coming from a bag up. I'm trying to get medical attention, bro.
Cause you did.
It is what it is. That's why we don't like y'all. My face up, bro. I ain't that, bro. I have nothing. Why you take what y'all with me for, bro? I walked off, bro. Did you move my hands? Bro, you want to search me, bro? How about the cop you search me? You can search me hands down, everything. I have nothing.
Handling in the cuffs. Take control now.
I got you, bro.
And now disregard, take a disregard. Disregard handling in the cuffs. Augustine Hamlin, take a disregard.
Let's go then. Take that off. 140 pounds. 140 pounds. Hold on with your homies. Come, Tony. Take that
That's crazy. Well, trying to come at him, man. It's like, you got 140 pounds.
I appreciate you guys. Stay right there. It's fine. Why you getting all tough and down like that? Sticks and
But you tell me, you're gonna get all tough, huh?
not like that. Me and just slammed on his head. We did. We know. We're not lying about it. Right. Okay. Oh, what the force for? He started fighting around. He choked him through the gate. He tried to talk to him.
He choked him through the gate.
You don't need that. Yeah, because he slammed him on his he did. I understand that. Okay? But Buddy was coming up behind him. Okay? Trying to pull him away. It's on camera. Talking to a white dude, bro.
What's the issue?
Lock your dumb.
You need more training.
I need more training.
You need sacrifice. You got a mental problem. He said he's gonna catch a body. Everything recorded. Him right here. He said he gonna catch a body out here. Everything
He came up to me with this. You picked up a
back. It's on camera. I did. I will.
As the crowd confronts the officers about their actions, Officer Abramson responds with insults and profanity. As we have discussed before here on ATA, the Supreme Court explained in the 1987 case of Houston versus Hill that, quote, the First Amendment protects a significant amount of verbal criticism and challenge directed at police officers. Speech is often provocative and challenging, but it is nevertheless protected against censorship or punishment, unless shown likely to produce a clear and present danger of a serious substantive evil that rises far above public inconvenience, annoyance, or unrest. Accordingly, it is highly likely that a court would conclude the bystanders' critiques of Officer Ridgner and Officer Abramson were protected speech under the First Amendment. Additionally, according to the Chicago Police Department General Order GO2-03, which outlines the department's so-called community policing mission and vision, officers should employ the concepts of so-called procedural justice and legitimacy, with a focus on giving others a voice or listening, neutrality in decision-making, respectful treatment, and trustworthiness. Applying these principles, the procedure also requires that, quote, all interactions with members of the public will be conducted with the utmost respect and courtesy and be based on the concepts of procedural justice and legitimacy. During each interaction, department members will strive to attain the highest degree of ethical behavior and professional conduct at all times. Now, in this situation, Officer Ridgner and Officer Abramson seem to be in clear violation of department policy, as they failed to listen to the bystanders' complaints or treat them with respect and courtesy, with Officer Abramson in particular directing profanity at the crowd and even telling them that he was going to, quote-unquote, catch a body.
I wasn't. Your ass was inside. I'm intimidated.
Body.
There's something obviously wrong with him, bro.
That's
Make
cold,
you, bro.
man.
Running. Remind me to take your. Relax. I got you, okay? I got you. Ain't nobody gonna treat you badly. I'm gonna get you water and everything, okay?
Let me go see his sister, man.
Put their hand on
And he jumped out, he grabbed him. He didn't try to get aggressive with him. He picked him up and slammed him, man. I know. On the guy in the car.
The officer, when
The black
gentleman
officer
told
picked
him,
him up.
the officer grabbed him and started choking him.
I saw it. All right.
My suggestion is, if you want to make a complaint, you can call COFA. But obviously, I mean, it looks like the guy's under arrest for something.
What?
We jumped. What y'all doing? I'm trying to see what y'all arrested.
What's he arrested for?
They instantly start fighting.
But you don't know what you're arrested for?
To be arrested for?
Hey, no, hey, see my face, you. Do you see my face?
The bystanders repeatedly ask why Mr. Kennedy was arrested, and the officers do not give them a clear answer. According to the incident report for Mr. Kennedy's arrest, the officers, quote-unquote, detained Mr. Kennedy because he allegedly looked directly in their direction and stiffened his body by locking his shoulders and torso. The report also claimed that Mr. Kennedy's eyes, quote-unquote, enlarged, now quoting, meaning that his eyebrows rose, which produced a shocked look on his face, and that he, now quoting again, adjusted his hands and manipulated his front lap area, which the officers believed was indicative of an attempt to conceal a handgun. However, as we have explored in previous episodes of ATA, law enforcement officers cannot legally detain individuals unless they have reasonable suspicion to believe that they are engaged in criminal activity. In the 2013 case of U.S. versus Williams, the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals, which has jurisdiction over Illinois, determined that officers did not have reasonable suspicion to believe that an individual was armed and dangerous based on the facts that he had his hands in his pocket or near his waistband, that he avoided eye contact, and that he began to move away from the area when the police arrived, even though the encounter occurred in a high crime area, and the police were responding to a 911 call reporting weapons. In reaching this conclusion, the court reasoned that, now quoting, most people, when confronted by a police officer, are likely to act nervous, avoid eye contact, and even potentially shift their bodies as if to move away from the area, thus making such behaviors of very little import to a reasonable suspicion determination. Well, given this precedent, it seems unlikely that Mr. Kennedy's potentially nervous behavior described in the police report constituted sufficient evidence to give the officers reasonable suspicion. As such, it is probable that a court would conclude that any detention of Mr. Kennedy under these circumstances would violate the Fourth Amendment, let alone the forceful detention carried out by Officer Ridgner and Officer Abramson.
They started grabbing on Ridge as soon as we walked up, grabbing his back, grabbing the back of his vest, pulling him away. We didn't even say
How you doing? Welcome in, y'all.
11-10.
from the takedown. Yeah. I see you. Yeah.
Oh, Angelo Gray, 514-891-4. Angelo, I'm gonna sue all you. Angelo Gray, I'm gonna lose y'all job. Angelo Gray, I don't understand why you still here.
What's up?
Why you still here?
Why am I still what?
Why the you still here?
Why am I still what?
You heard what I said.
Patel 18129.
Damn sure gonna know. My lawyer come holler at y'all, you damn sure gonna know. You
Cool.
damn sure gonna get y'all food.
Alright, that's good.
Why you grab me like that? Why you grab me for that? I don't get why he touching me, bro.
After his arrest, Mr. Kennedy was taken to the hospital with injuries to his head and wrist. He was then transported to jail, where he remained for 4 days and was charged with multiple counts of aggravated battery. However, on December 18th, 2020, all charges against Mr. Kennedy were dismissed. On February 17th, 2021, Mr. Kennedy filed a civil rights lawsuit against Officer Ridgner, Officer Abramson, and the city of Chicago. And on June 10th, 2022, Mr. Kennedy agreed to dismiss the suit in exchange for a $195,000 settlement. The Chicago Civilian Office of Police Accountability, or COPA, investigated the encounter and determined that Officer Ridgner and Officer Abramson detained Mr. Kennedy without justification, arrested Mr. Kennedy without justification, made false, misleading, incomplete, and/or inaccurate statements when completing reports related to the encounter, and failed to properly activate their body-worn cameras. The investigation also found that Officer Ridgner grabbed Mr. Kennedy by the throat and took him to the ground without justification, and that Officer Abramson stated words to the effect of, quote, "I'm going to catch a body today," and failed to report the excessive force used by Officer Ridgner against Mr. Kennedy. As discipline, the chief administrator of the Office of Police Accountability recommended that Officer Ridgner and Officer Abramson be terminated from the department. The chief administrator also recommended that Supervisors Lieutenant Kevin Keefe and Sergeant Nicholas Urban be terminated for making or approving one or more false, misleading, incomplete, and/or inaccurate statements when approving the tactical response reports completed by Officer Ridgner and Officer Abramson. Under the Chicago PD disciplinary process, a termination complaint must be filed and decided by the Chicago Police Board before an officer can be fired. And as of the date of writing this episode, the board has not released a decision relating to the termination of Officer Ridgner, Officer Abramson, Lieutenant Keefe, or Sergeant Urban. However, Officer Ridgner's LinkedIn page shows his employment at the Chicago PD ended in July of 2024, and that he is currently employed as a police officer in the village of Broadview, Illinois. Overall, the Chicago officers get an F for forcefully detaining Mr. Kennedy without any legitimate justification for doing so, employing a level of force that would have been excessive even if they had a reason to seize him, and maintaining hostile and confrontational demeanors throughout the encounter with both Mr. Kennedy and the witnesses that gathered to protest his arrest.
Right, y'all. I'm going to end that right there. Once again, I want to say shout out to ATA. Yeah, so thank you guys for coming. Came in and see it. Not catch it on the replay. And if y'all don't know, it's me, 88. It's on a Thursday night. I'm doing this content, but yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed that. It's about, law enforcement and the people's, the citizens. And as you can see, that young man was thrown to the concrete, and he was pretty much harassed, and he was threatened by the officer that said, "I'm gonna get your body." And but you see that peoples and citizens out in the street wasn't having that. They didn't like that. So they was rowdy. So they seen one of the people was getting thrown to the concrete, and it's no one saying against law enforcement. No, it's not. It's not that, and that's not the whole reason why we make these videos. These videos are to get what goes on in our country, what goes around in here in the USA. You know, we not to down any officer because it's good, plenty of good officers out there, in in the streets. And like I said, I have friends and I have families that's officers. So that said, that you know that, so it's not me saying I'm against police. But I know when I was growing up, I had to interact with a lot of them. So that said, and it's about, you know, that you should know. But back to it, I just wanted to make sure that you guys got to see this live. Like I said, I'm working into doing my lives to get more comfortable doing it, and I appreciate you guys coming. If you didn't come in, you can catch it on the replay. And like always, God bless you guys, and I appreciate you. Have a good night, and like once again, I'll be at it to do more lives. All right, I'm out. 88.